Sports Force starts now.
This is Sports Force, a Garage Sports Media production. I am one of your hosts, Ayron, and with me is Mr. Ryan Bass. Ryan, how are you this afternoon, early evening?
I'm doing good. I've had some time to heal. I've had some time to reflect. You know.
Both our teams lost.
Yeah.
It was a bad week.
It was. But, after the come down, you face reality and you kind of look at yourself in the mirror and you say, this is who we are. And you come to terms.
I said the same thing all weekend long. You've probably heard it 15 different times.
Yeah.
The best part about your team losing on Thursday is they can't lose on Sunday. And that is exactly what it was. But we had a good Sunday. We watched all the games together. We had a garage watch.
Yeah.
Which was the first time we did it this season. So I had a garage TV put up. My neighbor gave me an old one. So I just add to my collection of TVs. And he called me. He's like, "Hey, you're watching this Bills game, Bills Dolphins? I want to check that out." And I was like, "Oh, let me just open up the garage door. I'll turn it on."
Right.
Called you. You came over, put some Adirondack chairs out, had the whole setup, little table going.
Yeah.
But I think the funniest part was, I don't remember at what point in the game or the morning games it was, but somebody said, "Hey, it would be cool if we got Red Zone on a bigger TV." And I said, "Oh, I got another TV."
Yeah.
So went down the crawl space. We hung one on the wall with just wire. So we've got one TV, second TV. So we got a game going on the big one.
And then you've got the laptop down there, and then I've got my phone pulled up with the NFL ticket as well, the Sunday ticket. So we had 4 TVs.
And I don't think we're done yet because as we were talking, so I have a ton of TVs. I don't know why. Yeah. I've got 2 TVs that I bought in 2010 or something like that have been replaced, but they were working yet, so I just didn't get rid of them. They were in my crawl space. And I could hang another one up, and we can get more games going. Because we both have Sunday tickets, so we can both subscribe into that. And I thought, hey, we could just get an HD antenna. We just put the local games and do that. Yeah. So, it was a fun game. We're going to do it again this weekend.
Without a doubt.
Man,
And it's going to be a great Sunday because neither of our teams play till Monday.
And they play each other.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Our teams stink, and they play each other on Monday night.
I'm just going to apologize ahead of time for anything that I might say to you or against your team. You're just going to have to take it with a grain of salt.
Well, I'm kind of nervous about that because I watched what happened Sunday when your team lost on a heartbreaking interception.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure the entire neighborhood heard it.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was just interception and then Ryan going off at the top of his lungs about how he could coach this team better.
Oh, fuck yeah. Anyone can coach better than Josh McDummyhead. Are you kidding me? That guy is atrocious.
It was funny.
He coaches to lose.
After you left, so our other neighbor who was watching with us, he's like, "I really feel bad for him. He's really upset." Like, you think?
I feel bad for Raider Nation, but that's a completely different topic.
We got room for you.
Okay.
We got room for you to talk about that within this episode. It's great. But, okay, an incredible week of football.
Yeah.
Week 4. The Bills made a statement win.
Hell yeah, they did.
We had
impressive.
Not 1, but 2 toilet bowls.
Yeah.
And almost upset by the Commanders. That was pretty cool.
They were that close.
Bill Belichick got his worst loss ever as a head coach. Very cool.
That was nice.
The Toy Story game happened Sunday morning. Did you watch it?
I watched a little bit of it. Yeah, they had those little squeaky alien toys. I forget what they're called, and they had the Emperor Zog or whatever his name is.
If I had kids, that would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Like if I could indoctrinate them to watch football.
Did you ever watch Toy Story 1?
The first one I saw.
Yeah, so it was pretty much nostalgia of that.
Yeah, so the Slinky Dog was the 10-yard chains for first down. I don't know if this is even that cool, but the goalpost was the blocks with the letters that said goalpost.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool.
No, it was pretty cool.
I was really hoping for a fight so I could see a Toy Story fight on there, but it didn't. I think everybody was really. You just want to see. I mean, you're an adult watching football, right?
Yeah.
You want to see that. But it was interesting. I've watched the Nickelodeon Slime Time games, which are somewhat entertaining for like a drive or two, because they'll do like as soon as they score a touchdown, all the slime comes out. It's kind of cool. I don't know, just something different. I was watching it Sunday morning while recovering from Saturday. It was kind of a rough Saturday.
It's a fun one for you guys.
Yeah, I barged into Ryan's house shouting at the top of my lungs about I don't even know what. Yeah.
Yeah, you had yourself a show.
I went to a metal show this weekend.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
We both did.
Yeah.
We both did.
So I got kicked out of a concert twice, which sounds worse than what actually happened.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Let me just say, after he told me what had happened, this guy had a personal vendetta against Ayron. It really wasn't bad. It was the sound guy that got caught up in a mosh pit.
Yes.
And Ayron was just trying to push this guy back into the mosh pit because it looked like he was partaking.
Yes.
But he wasn't.
Yes.
And he took it very personally for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
I say to that, fuck you.
Thank you. My mosh pitting days are basically over.
Yeah.
I just turned 40 this year, so I'm not. I will stand like 2 levels back. I love kind of getting pushed around and being part of that.
Yeah, or just push someone back in.
And so this had broken out. Somebody got shoved into kind of the area I was in while this guy was heading towards the pit. And when I kind of had him against my arm. He was getting up to go back. I gave him a little push. He turned around and just started screaming at me. I had no idea this was a sound guy. I thought it was the guy going back to the mosh pit. But I will say shout out to the owner of this place because when he came up and talked to me, we hashed it out. It was cool. Yeah. But they did pretend to kick me out and then just had me go around back. So this was a crazy event too, by the way, just because it was a free show. There was local bands all day and then free beer of like breweries in the area. No cover charge, anything. You were just walking up.
Brutal Poodle, right?
It was a Brutal Poodle, yeah.
Yeah, that place is tight.
Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever been there. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. But very cool that they listened because I'd had like 1 beer at that point, and I was like, nah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
But anyways, I got kicked out of a concert twice.
And he came barging into my house when the kids were asleep, and my other neighbor across the street had barged in maybe 10, 15 minutes before he did. And she was actually drunk. He wasn't. But she came in yelling, and I've got 3 kids plus one staying over, family friend. So they had all just gone down. And I'm like trying to enjoy some peace and quiet. And then it's back to back. So he got the shit end of the stick. I'm pretty sure I yelled at him and just told him to like,
yeah, you did,
chill the fuck out.
But I deserved it, so it's all good. But it was fun, and so Sunday morning I watched a little bit of that Toy Story game, probably the second half because I don't care about the Falcons or Jaguars. Jaguars stink. I don't care what anybody says.
It was also really early in the morning.
It was super early. It was the first of 2 London games. The Jaguars are still in London.
And there's a Germany game as well.
Was that what it is?
Yeah. Well,
cool.
Coming up.
Jaguars again. Okay, what else do we have? Well, we're 4 weeks in.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're 4 weeks in.
It's already like rear view, you know.
Dude, I love football and I look forward to it every year. It goes by so fast.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I hate complaining about it because I'm like, I love football. But this year's been a little different. We've had a lot of bad football, but I still love it. I love every week of football that we get. Even if the Packers stink.
Yeah, we got C.J. Stroud as well, being named the Offensive Rookie of the Month.
Incredible.
Incredible.
I mean, what he's been able to do. And we actually talked about the Texans a little bit within this show.
Yeah.
They made the radar. They're supposed to suck this season.
They made the radar.
And they did.
Yeah.
All right, but we did have the best game of the week, at least in terms of being competitive. We had the Bills make a statement win against the Dolphins.
Oh, it was impressive. I mean, I was just saying previously, the week prior, Josh Allen has not strung together back-to-back impressive wins in terms of what he's done. But he proved to everyone he's that guy. He had 21 of 25, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
4 touchdowns.
With a rushing touchdown, so make that 5. Okay. He was sacked twice. It didn't matter. He almost played a perfect game. Passer rating, 158.3, just phenomenal. And Stephon Diggs, this showed Tyreek Hill who the real dog is. He had 3 touchdowns in that game, 6 receptions, 120 yards out of 7 targets. Gabe Davis also had a touchdown, 3 receptions, 61 yards. They were getting after Tua.
They made him uncomfortable.
They were making him uncomfortable.
Very
they had
uncomfortable.
4 sacks. They were keeping him on his toes.
I thought this game was going to go back and forth like the entire game.
Yeah,
it
so did
started
I.
off that way.
Yeah.
Bills will go down, Dolphins will go
They would
down,
go
back and forth. But the defense on the Bills just stepped up, and they just stopped the Dolphins from scoring.
Yeah.
I don't even think they scored in the second half.
It was impressive to see what they were able to string together. They also forced an interception out of Tua, so it was impressive what they did. The score would be 48-20 going to the Bills. Tua, on the other hand, he was struggling in that game. 25 out of 35. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But it was impressive that Achane came to ball out. He did have himself 8 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyreek, I want to bring this up just because he was pretty quiet. He only had 3 receptions for 58 yards and 0 touchdowns, 5 targets. So they pretty much
They just stymied.
they just shut him down.
Yeah.
Which no one else has been able to do so far this season. So it was impressive to see their defensive scheme against the Dolphins, who came in red hot after putting up a 70 burger on the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and they got Jalen Waddle back, so
Yeah.
even more impressive by the Bills.
Absolutely.
So on the Bills side, I don't know why I can't get week 1 out of my brain. I think it's gone now.
I think it's gone.
Because
for me.
that doubt was always creeping in the back of my mind. But
Yeah.
you watch this game, which is the closest that we've got to a playoff preview.
Right.
Both these teams are definitely going to the playoffs. And
Yeah.
it was who's better than the other one. There's been a lot of bad football this season. I know I keep saying that, but the good teams are really good.
Yeah.
And this is finally the chance that we get to see 2 good teams go at it.
Right.
And holy shit, did the Bills look good.
I just said previously that the Dolphins were the number 1 team in the AFC. I might have to eat my words after watching that game. I still really like what the Dolphins are doing, but holy shit, man.
The Dolphins looked so much better.
Yeah.
Compared to the Dolphins, what I mean.
The Bills looked,
Yeah,
The Bills
I
looked
thought this was
great.
going to be a lot more competitive, but the Bills punched the Dolphins in the
The
mouth.
Bills looked like they were one step up, head and shoulders above the Dolphins, which says a lot.
Josh Allen's all the way back. So you know what? I'm throwing out week 1. I'm done with it. I'm committed
same.
to the Bills. They looked Super Bowl good.
Yeah.
Just
very.
like I think on the NFC side with the Niners, where it feels like it's their Super Bowl to lose. If you look at who top teams are, the Bills look like they could truck anyone all the way there. I know it's early. It's the overreaction episode. That's what we're at. Week 4 overreactions. Bills Niners Super Bowl.
You're starting to get into but when it's like week 5, everyone says, okay, by week 5, you really know who the teams are. So
Yeah.
at that point, I feel like, is this an overreaction, or what we are seeing is what is to come? We have to take it for face value.
Yeah. But they did lose Tre'Davious White, the Bills.
They did. That was
which
huge.
is a blow, although they're
ACL,
going to
right?
get Von Miller back.
Yeah.
He's going to start practicing this week, is from what I've been seeing. So you lose one, you gain one. But considering what the Dolphins look like and what the Bills just did to them, I just see the Bills running all the way, while Stephon Diggs does stone cold beer smash celebrations in the end zone. Did you see that?
Yeah. I won't go as far as just saying it's set in stone for the Bills. I will say that I like their chances a lot more now. It's still going to be a dogfight between, Miami. You can't forget about the Chiefs. There's going to be other teams that are going to really compete all the way down to the finish line. So the Bills are the most impressive as it stands right now, but they have a hard road. The hardest road to get to the Super Bowl over anyone else is probably the Bills or anyone in that
Yeah.
conference.
Although the Dolphins were toe-to-toe at first, they just had no answer in the second half.
Defensively,
it didn't seem like they could even score. But I'm not saying hope is lost. I'm with you. I'm agreeing with you. The Dolphins still have a huge chance to go. They are a very good team. I love what Tua is doing this season. He looks incredible.
You got to love the coach, too.
Oh, dude. I love his sunglasses. I meant to look those up. I'm such a big fan. They look like an 80s coach or like the big aviators, but they're kind of square. And they have gold with like the brown. They're fucking cool as shit. I love him as a coach, just his personality. But I meant that just sparked a memory. I'm like, I meant to look those up. Probably way too much I'm going to pay for them because I'm a cheap guy when it comes to sunglasses.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Dolphins now have film on what a good team can do to them. So I would expect them to adjust.
Oh, yeah.
They'll still take care of business in the regular season. I expect them to be in the playoffs. But I would also think that they change up whatever they're doing now. Again, it's week 4. Yeah. It's a way too early thing. But, like, that was one of those losses where you got to look yourself in the mirror and just go, we're good, but.
Yeah.
And then adjust, which I expect them to do. They're a good team, and you're right. They got great coaching.
Yeah.
So moving into Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
Where the Lions beat the shit out of the Packers.
And
we have to talk about it.
I was having the time of my life at a concert, but I didn't really care to watch the first 2 opening acts. So I went to the bar, which was at club level, and there wasn't a whole lot of people there. So it was great. And I'm watching the game. I'm eating nachos. I'm waiting for Avenged Sevenfold to come up, and I'm like, gosh, this has got to suck.
It did. It did suck.
So let's talk about it, right?
Well, I mean, do we have to?
We have to. So I said I said in our Pick'ems episode, I said, after what I predict, which is the Detroit Lions, they handle business against Packers, I said I think that they're legitimate. And they proved that, 34-20. They came out punching. Jared Goff didn't have his best game. We'll talk about that, 19-28, 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He did get sacked twice. But this was the David Montgomery show. Mm-hmm. Holy shit, man. That guy had 32 carries, 121 yards, 3 TDs. Like, just impressive. Amon-Ra had himself a touchdown as well. Shout outs to Amon-Ra. He's been having himself a pretty good season thus far. Here's where it pops out. They got 5 sacks against Jordan Love. 5.
Yeah, they did.
Got after him. And then another highlight is Jerry Jacobs. Jerry Jacobs had himself 2 interceptions and returned those for 34 yards in totality. So just phenomenal. On Green Bay's side, Jordan Love was struggling definitely in this showdown. I'd say showdown. He had 23 out of 36, 246 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He did get sacked 5 times, so you got to cut him some slack in that regard. He didn't have himself a rushing touchdown, though, as well. So he was doing everything he could in that regard. Christian Watson had himself also a touchdown, and this was his return game, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a cool touchdown. I mean, he was just wide open, stood there, nobody around, caught it. Good job, Christian Watson. Good job.
Yeah, they did get themselves 2 sacks and an interception, so it's not like their defense wasn't trying. It's just that their offense, I feel like, still lacks. And Jordan Love has been taking care of the football. Coming up into this game, I believe he only had 1 interception for the season. So,
yeah,
he still needs some time.
I don't know. I will talk about the Packers.
Yeah, let's hear
you. Okay. First off, let's just talk about the Lions because they won. Good job, Lions. Came into Lambeau. The Lions have now gone into Arrowhead.
Amazing.
They've come into Lambeau, and they've come out with a win. They were one of the top stories coming out of the league at the beginning of the season.
Which I had my doubts, and I was making fun of people. I was like, hold your horses.
And especially with that Chiefs win in Arrowhead, week 1, the first game of the season, Thursday Night Football primetime, they all of a sudden shocked the world. Holy shit, they won. Mm-hmm. I am happy for Lions fans. I really am. They're one of the most loyal fan bases I've ever encountered. I did live in Michigan for a year. But they're now silently good. nobody's really talking about them. Everything that's being dominated over the storylines, if you watch ESPN or podcasts or anything, is a lot of Chiefs stuff, a lot of Jets stuff.
Yeah.
Lately, the last couple days, it's refereeing stuff. But here are the Lions stringing together wins.
3-1.
They had the one dumb loss.
Yeah.
But if we're holding teams to the same standard, like I said last week about the Cowboys, you can write that one off then. Yeah. They are looking good. I thought this game was going to be competitive at the beginning because the Packers got the pick. I think it was their first drive, which they didn't convert into a touchdown. They kicked a field goal out of that one. Right. I don't even think they got a first down in the first half. But the Lions look good. Jared Goff looks good. Amon-Ra St. Brown is great. And I think he was a value pick receiver. I don't think he was like a fourth rounder. They've got a great running game with Montgomery, although they confusingly don't use Jahmyr Gibbs at all. And they picked him right away. I don't know if you remember the draft video when they were like, yes, yeah. But they don't ever use him, so I don't know what the deal is with that. But if this team keeps going the way they're going, they're going to be somebody who upsets a team in the playoffs. They could be that team. The North 100%. Is theirs for sure. The Packers stink. Look, I admit it. The Packers stink. The Vikings and the Bears are a joke. They are easily taking the division, heading into the playoffs. I'm interested to see what they do, how deep of a run they make, and could they be the team that, look, call this like way too overreaction, but could they upset a team like the Niners in the playoffs?
It will depend on the health of the quarterback in San Francisco.
Agreed. Now, Packers.
Yeah.
The Packers did the worst thing that they can do to their fans. They gave them some hope. In a season where they were supposed to just kind of be whatever, it's a completely new team. I mean, Rodgers is gone. Mason Crosby, the kicker for the last 17 years, is gone. They have the youngest team, I think, in the entire NFL. Nobody expected too much. But they came out week one, beat the shit out of the Bears, who at the time we all thought were supposed to be good. They are not.
Yeah.
They had ups and downs over the last two games, but one thing has been consistent, and this is where I'm like, they stink. They get nothing in the first half. They get everything in the second half of a game, third quarter, fourth quarter. They struggle with getting first downs. Jordan Love struggles at the beginning of every single game that they've played. I have a lot of doubts, and the thing that occurred to me this week, and I hate that I'm saying this, is I think I was fooled by Jordan Love's calm demeanor when I keep saying he's poised. Because he does look poised. He looks calm. He looks like he's not rattled. But I'm starting to think that he stinks.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you might change your mind after Monday's matchup because he could go back to looking like an all-pro.
This is what you say every week.
I say this every week. It could be Kenny Pickett, which we saw what kind of performance he had post-Raiders this past weekend. Hopefully he heals up. I know he's dealing with an injury, but it doesn't matter if it's a high school football coach like Jeff Saturday or if it's a backup quarterback that came in 3 days prior before playing a game like Baker Mayfield last year. It doesn't matter if it's Jordan Love who struggled to score points in the first half. This next week, I'm telling you ahead of time that he's going to look much better than he did this past week.
Maybe, but I'm still not buying it. And here's the ultimate problem I think the Packers have. So let me just go on this little side rant real quick. The Packers have such a young team that these guys need to be developed to be NFL players. Yeah. They're missing a lot of technique. They're missing routes. They're doing really dumb shit. Quay Walker's in his second year. He keeps doing dumbass shit. He just got flagged for launching over the line on a field goal from a yard out, more than a yard out.
Right.
At least he hasn't been ejected like he got ejected twice last season. But I don't know that they have the right coaching staff to build up this team. So I hope they do a big overhaul and get the right people in who can teach them technique, because these are, on a positive point, these are good, skilled players who are trying.
Right.
But what you're seeing is them trying their best and not knowing how to play NFL football, because college football is so much different. So
it is.
The Packers stink. It's going to be a rough season. But, hey, we play each other this week, and I hope your Raiders do what Raiders do, and they look good for one more game. Just give me one more game. Oh, they get the Bears again at some point, so
Yeah.
that's cool. Anyways, that's enough on that. I don't need to feel that. We got Eagles Commanders up next.
That was an entertaining game
Yes,
for
it
sure.
was.
That went down to the wire. Washington 31, Eagles 34. Jalen Hurts 25 out of 37, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times, but he was able to keep it moving. Passer rating 112.3. DeAndre Swift also had himself a game, 14 carries, 56 yards, 1 touchdown. A.J. Brown also had himself a game, 9 receptions, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, along of 59. He had himself a bomb. Nicholas Morrow, I think I said that right.
I don't know that one.
He had himself 3 sacks. Had himself a game.
1, 2, 3.
3 sacks
for you.
And there was 2 more sacks coming out of that that backfield as well. So they had themselves a hell of a game. On Washington's side, Sam Howell, he put up 29 out of 41, 290 yards, 1 touchdown. He was struggling. Brian
interceptions?
No interceptions. But he just, he wasn't doing it, really.
He did throw 500 interceptions, so that that's improvement. And if I'm a Commanders fan, I take that as a win.
Brian Robertson had 14 carries, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. Curtis Samuel also had himself a touchdown. Jahan Dotson had himself a touchdown as well. But other than that, I'm not seeing a whole lot from Washington that popped out to me. Otherwise, that they kept it.
Defense?
I mean,
defense. They have an incredible defense.
Lack of defense if you're letting a team hang 34 on you.
Yeah, but they were in that game the entire time.
Yeah, but you got to make stops. You got to make stops. They didn't make stops. Philadelphia, when you look at the scoreboard, Philadelphia made a stop. They had that interception at the end of the game. Was it the end of the game?
Yes, I say not.
No. It wasn't an interception, but there was a turnover at the end of the game where Philadelphia was able to come out on top. And we know Philadelphia's defense is not that good.
I know. I mean, the Eagles get the win, but they're the most suspect team at 4-0.
I would have to agree.
I can't believe they haven't lost.
Yeah.
How haven't they? They've let every team except for the Buccaneers hang around. And they do this week after week. They did it with the Patriots.
It's close wins. And, I know what a lot of people are going to say, good teams find ways to win close games. But at some point in time, these close games are going to haunt you, especially against better teams. I've been saying this. What happens when they play a 49ers defense or a Cowboys defense with a great offense, that play complementary ball on both sides? What happens when they face a team that is equally matched in offense, or if not better, but also head and shoulders above defensively? That's where I will also say I'm not sold on the Eagles. I know they're 4-0, but to me, they have just as many question marks as the Cowboys do year in and year out, with Cowboys fans, holding out on them. So
I sound like a hater talking about the Eagles because I don't believe it, because what I see on the field, which is so much of how I judge a team, I don't dig into stats almost ever. I just watch the games and I go, this team actually isn't as good as what people think, and I'll talk about a different team about that. But the Commanders had a chance in this game.
They really did.
It came right down to it. They almost kicked it to go into overtime.
Yeah, and Eric Bieniemy, shout outs to him. I'm surprised he's not a head coach yet. I think he will be, if he keeps this up this year and shows what he can do with a bad offense and turn that thing around, I don't see how he's not a head coach next year.
Yeah, I would think so. I swear Jalen Hurts can't run. And I'm so perplexed by that. He ran over everybody last season.
Yeah.
When he looks to run, it's not even scary this season. It's not like he's injured. I don't know what happened. It's like he just forgot how to do it.
Yeah, he averaged 3.8 yards a carry. He had 9 carries for 34 yards. So
I don't know if
nothing that's eye popping per se. And the touchdowns that he's got rushing wise this year have been little 1-2 yard, you know.
It's so
punch-ins.
weird because I keep waiting for it. And then when he does, he just runs into a defender. So maybe teams are playing better too. I guess I haven't paid attention to
They've
that part
schemed
of
up
it.
against him a little bit more.
And that's what happens
yeah.
to running quarterbacks often. But I will say on the positive side of that, not to be a complete Eagles hater, they are 4-0.
They are 4-0.
He is throwing better. I mean, he throws picks. Did he have a pick this game?
This game he did not.
So
Yeah.
I think this is the first game without one, but he looks better throwing it than what I thought last year. So there is improvement there, but if they can't figure out how to gel and actually take over a game, they'll make the playoffs and then just get eliminated in the first round.
First or second round. Yeah, that's what I'm predicting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that they're not a playoff team. It's just they're not a competitive playoff team. They're not this team does not scream Super Bowl to me. They just don't.
They are really looking more, I think I said this already, as the Super Bowl contender or Super Bowl participant.
Yeah, participant
Than a contender.
of last year.
Yeah. On the Commander side, just real quick, that defense is legit. I know you talk about they just laid
They just hung 34 points on the
hung
Commanders,
34,
yeah.
but also if you can't get your offense going, your defense is going to get worn down and you're going to start giving up plays. I get that. But this team was one of those whatever teams that kept winning games. This is their first loss. They're what? They're 4-1 now, right?
Well, there's only been 4 games, so they would either be
Sorry,
3-1 or
I'm
2.
already
They'd either be 3-1 or 2-2.
I'm already on to week 5. I'm just messing it up over here. But they've been winning games. And to see this against the Eagles, now I know I just shit all over the Eagles, but the Commanders could string together some wins.
They could.
So I don't know. I still think it's more of a fun story team than it is watch out for these guys. But, I mean, if you're a fan of this team, I would be excited being a Commanders team watching this out.
Yeah. Yeah. They're third in their division right now. They're 2-2. So
this 2-2. Who else did they lose to? Why am I forgetting that? I thought they were one of the.
They lost against the Bills.
Yeah, that's right.
And they always play.
Yeah.
To be fair, they always play good against the Eagles. So
God, I'm getting all my games messed up.
They do have their number.
Yeah.
Statistically, over the last couple of years, they have been known to beat the Eagles.
Yeah, it was a fun game to watch because it came down to basically to the end. This was about to go into overtime.
Yeah.
And I really like watching this Commanders defense. I just wish they had better offense. They got McLaurin, which is great, but Sam Howell dances around, and you really don't know what you're going to get out of him.
You don't.
Maybe they should have kept Heineke. He had those Brett Favre moments. He was so fun. Maybe Atlanta will roll him out.
Who's playing for the Steelers this week?
I thought I saw Kenny Pickett was going to be back.
No.
I swear to God, I saw something today that said that. I could be wrong.
I mean, maybe in a couple games, but I do believe they're starting their backup, their second string.
I have no idea who their backup is.
But moving on to another game, which I feel like this is the team you're going to say is not as good as they look, is the Kansas City Chiefs just won 23-20 over the Jets, which was definitely entertaining down to the wire. I was watching every bit of that the other night, and I will say, was definitely impressed.
I mean, it kind of took the steam out of the Bills-Dolphins game, which I thought was the best game of the week.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a trucking by the Chiefs that just didn't happen.
It didn't happen, and Patrick Mahomes had a suspect game, 18 out of 30, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He's throwing a lot more interceptions this year, I've noticed. Isaiah Pacheco, he had 20 carries, 115 yards.
He looks good running.
1 touchdown, yeah. And shout out to Patrick Mahomes for icing the game, with that run where he could have thought, this game should have been 30-20.
His celebration at the end was the best.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Chiefs hater, then you just hate this guy.
Noah Gray also had himself a touchdown from the receiving corps. In terms of defense, they were able to figure out what Zach Wilson was doing because he was cooking for a bit until they were able to kind of just lock down.
He was good. This was the best Zach Wilson game maybe ever.
I mean, he had all the confidence and momentum on his side. There was There was some penalties, which we'll get into.
Oh, my God.
New York, let's talk about them. Zach Wilson, 28 out of 39. He had 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So he definitely took care of the ball. Allen Lazard got himself a touchdown with 3 receptions for 61 yards. It was pretty quiet, though, overall. CJ Uzuma had himself a touchdown as well.
Ozuma, I think.
Uzuma.
Could be wrong about that.
And they had themselves 2 interceptions against the Chiefs. So, they were definitely holding their own.
I mean, technically a third.
Yeah.
Technically a third.
Yeah, so they were holding their own, but it came down to 2 penalties, I want to say. And that was backbreaking. I mean, absolutely backbreaking.
Yeah. So, Chiefs side of the ball real quick. Everyone is way too high in the Chiefs. Every power ranking I see, podcast list, new, whatever, when I'm on Instagram, Twitter, everyone's rankings at the Chiefs way too high. They're a good team, but they aren't great. They aren't playing well. Just like the Eagles.
Would you say they're a top 10 team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, yes, but also there's not a lot of good teams out there.
Right.
Much like the Eagles, they really haven't taken over a game except for one. They beat the shit out of the Bears last week.
Yeah.
The Bears are the worst team. But the Jets had a real chance to upset the Chiefs this week, and it was very surprising because the Jets have not played very well. I think there's a Patrick Mahomes effect when it comes to people thinking about this team and instantly putting him at the top. And that Patrick Mahomes has proven that he is that dude.
Oh, he is.
But
he is Kermit the Frog.
Kelsey was non-existent in this game. They just took him out. And you don't have a wide receiver stepping up to fill in this.
You know why?
They have a blank space on wide receiver.
That too. But he's got the pressure looking down on him at these games now.
You got the Taylor Swift effect?
Yeah, he's got Taylor Swift looking down, rooting for him. So
I mean, that could be
his mind could be not totally on the game.
I mean, maybe. I just think if you're playing smart against the Chiefs, if you just take Kelsey out, they'll still be able to run the ball with Pacheco because he looks good.
Sure.
But you do not have a wide receiver on that team.
Yeah, you really don't. Who is their number 1 wide receiver? They don't have one.
Sky Moore, I think.
Yeah, but at this point, I would be looking. This is where I could see things turning around. Is we're 4 weeks out from the trade deadline, so I could see them making a big splash for a wide receiver.
Well, they may not even need to make a splash because the Bears have made it clear that they are going to get rid of Chase Claypool. They didn't even have him come to the game last week. Now, he said he was given the option. Then the Bears came out, corrected, and said, no, we told him not to.
Ouch.
They are putting him up on the trade block, but they only want a 5th or 6th, which means I'm guessing that every team will just sit, wait for the Bears to drop him, and then try and make a play. Unless you really need him. You're not giving up that much to get somebody like him. He's proven to be a good receiver. Whatever is going on in Chicago, he is not happy. So that's one that you could low-cost pick up. Maybe they make a move at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
But unless they do something different, the blueprint's out on how to beat the Chiefs.
Sure. All right.
For Jets, though, I just want to say this.
What do you got? Yeah.
I feel bad for Zach Wilson. Making fun of him for being a bad quarterback is very easy.
Sure.
And
both him and Justin Fields, actually.
Yeah, exactly. He's not ready. Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be that guy. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is that on Sunday night post-game, Rodney Harrison was trying to bait Chris Jones into calling Zach Wilson trash, and he doubled down on it. To Chris Jones' credit, he was like, no, Zach Wilson's better than he just needs time. He just needs time. He was very respectful, and Rodney Harrison was just a fucking asshole.
Do you think Zach Wilson on the right team could be more effective than he is right now?
It's hard to say. If you look at the difference in this game, they let him throw the ball, and it was working. So the early games earlier in the season, all they've done is run, and then maybe try and throw it, and it's really taken him out of the game. I think he's better than how he's playing, but he's not ready and needs development. He would have been like way better off by having Rodgers to study under, and obviously that's not happening this season. But to see him on the sideline looking like he's about to cry and be like, I lost this game.
Yeah, that was definitely tough.
It changed. It really kind of made me realize, like,
he has accountability.
It's low hanging fruit to make fun of him. He's not ready. I get it, but like it's gone way too far of making fun of him at this point. You know, I don't know that the Jets are going to be able to turn anything around. I don't know that Wilson will be able to be a better quarterback. Maybe they look at this and go, we got nothing to lose. Let's see what he can do. And they just let him open it up.
Sure.
Could be. But, you know, it was interesting to watch the Jets almost take it.
It was.
But more importantly, the refereeing that happened or didn't happen, which has dominated Twitter space all week long. So there were a couple calls that happened. We already referenced one with the interception that got called back. But there was the last play of the game where Mahomes went down to his slide. Mm-hmm. That video is coming out of holding, and then the question is, what is holding? Because you got people saying he's not holding the jerseys under the pads, which is legal. But we absolutely have bad refereeing.
Yeah, we do.
And I think we get worse refereeing each year, and we'll continue to because of the way that is set up.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, I came up with 3 points as to why I think refereeing sucks. I'll give you my first one. The refs are wealthy lawyers who do this as a hobby. It's not their job. Like, they do this for fun. So unless the NFL is going to get salaried employees who get trained, developed, and have accountability, these guys just don't have anything to lose.
I mean, aren't they paid $200,000 to $400,000 a piece?
Sure, but this isn't their job, is what I mean. If they get taken off a game, which happens, or they just get taken off as being a ref, it's not like they lost their job. They lost this cool, fun hobby that pays them money. So I think that's a problem, but I don't think that'll change. The second point, the NFL can't even figure out its own rules. You all right?
No.
We might lose one on the podcast.
Peace out. It's been real Sports Force.
Let me just vamp for a while. The NFL can't figure out its own rules. I mean, we're probably the closest to understanding a catch now than we ever have. We now look for 2 feet and the ball not to move, which is the most we've ever understood.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they used to use the term a football move? Like, what the hell was that? How do you know it's a catch? Well, did he make a football move or not? Yeah. So they continue to make the rules hard as shit. So you have that on top of it, where you're trying to referee a game and decide what you actually saw and was that a rule or not. And the third and most important one that I just want everybody to know that I truly believe, the NFL does not care. At the core of this league, it does not care, and it's apparent, about the people who watch the game.
Yeah.
They call it the no fun league, and that came by for a reason. This is a league that got rid of touchdown celebrations and made it a penalty. Now they have corrected that, and we get great celebrations now. Like I said, Stephon Diggs doing the Stone Cold beer smash. Oh, that was awesome. So now the only people who complain about celebrations are crusty old guys who are like, just hand the ball to the ref and walk off. To which everyone I go, hey, as soon as you score a touchdown, you can go hand it to the ref.
Yeah, sure.
But this will continue to be a problem. And I think how you see it is based on how you feel about this team. Like I mentioned earlier about the Chiefs, or maybe I didn't. Maybe this was a conversation that we had before the game. I think there's a Patriots effect happening with the Chiefs because they're coming off a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes now has 2. He's been in it, 3? And the Patriots suck. So when a team's winning, people start to hate them, and they start to look at this and go, well, this guy gets every call. That used to be the talk track with Tom Brady. It's now happening with the Chiefs. So that, to me, is just as somebody who tries not to have those thoughts. I go, well, it's just because you don't like the Chiefs. There's another thing that happens, and this is what we were talking about beforehand, which is that within a game, if a bad call happens, they usually make it up. And we all know that happens. That's true.
Yeah.
If it's at the end of a game, there's no time to make it up. So now it looks like they influence the game. So that's my rant. That's my thoughts on NFL refereeing. You don't have to agree with me. This is just how I look at it and go, it's not going to get better until they actually get employees who are refs and they give a shit about the fans. And I love football. I just hate the way the league runs it.
True.
Should we move on to games? Well,
I would say so.
So we've got not necessarily a game recap, but we've got a team recap, I guess, because both the Cowboys and the Niners won this week.
Yeah.
And
Convincingly, too.
Exactly.
Like, convincingly.
The Cowboys look like last week was just a foregone memory. It never happened. And to Micah Parsons' credit, he was 100% right. He's like, look, it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows, and they did it. Now, it was the Patriots, but the Patriots didn't have a chance in this game whatsoever.
Still Bill Belichick. He still has a defensive mind.
You still want to believe that they would be somewhat competitive. The Niners and Cardinals, the Niners had the Cardinals against the ropes the entire time. Like, they made a push, and you thought, oh, maybe they're going to make this competitive. And the Niners just stepped it up and said, nah, fam, we ain't doing that. And they just closed out the game.
Yeah, I mean, Christian McCaffrey, like, he's entering MVP discussions right now. You know, he had 3 touchdowns receiving.
Who's better?
For 106 yards, and then he had himself 7 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Who's better? Yeah.
Dude, there was a press conference where the reporter asked Shanahan, he's like, could you imagine if you didn't get McCaffrey? And he's like, don't ever say that.
Yeah.
Like, who's better?
Who's better? Yeah. So, you know, it's going to be a very telling matchup this Sunday against the two. So we're all excited to see that. No, that's Monday. That's Monday night's game.
Yeah. So
no, that's Sunday night's game. I'm sorry.
Sunday night's game. So, and the reason why I want to bring these two up, and not necessarily do a game recap, but what you're seeing is what good teams have, the attributes that they carry that make them actually good, which is they control the tempo of the game. They can turn it on, they can turn it off. They'll start a game, they get up early, score early, not wake up out of bed early. They get up, scoring early, and then they can play complementary football. But as soon as the other team starts to make a push, they just turn it back on and they can shut it down. The defenses do not make the offense come and play catch up. They control both sides, and this is what you're seeing with the Niners and the Cowboys both.
Well, the Cowboys, though, I'm hesitant just because they get majority of their points this year off of defense. So when someone can score on them, when they play a credible team, which they're about to, that can score, what are they going to do to answer offensively?
And that is the question. It's the Dak Prescott question.
Yeah.
Are you going to get some unsolicited Dak picks this week? Or,
probably.
Or is he going to play that competent game? Like, the Cowboys are the most interesting.
Jesus Christ, I'm still dying off of that fucking sip of ice.
You should try to drink it.
Quick,
like I just old man joke that one. But right into the microphone, huh? But yeah, so we get Cowboys Niners Sunday night.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is the first time both teams are going to face somebody who's actually competitive, in much like we had this last week with Bills and Dolphins. It's a way early preview of what the playoffs could look like should these teams face each other, because these two are the best in the NFC.
Oh, it's not even a question.
The Cowboys still give me some doubt because they had that loss, and you're 100% right. They're not getting offensive scoring, but they are getting it defensively.
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
one's going to have an off game. So you have to say, okay, well, the offense has to show up then.
Yeah.
If the defense is going to have an off game, which they will.
And I think I'm more interested on the Niners side because they have given me zero doubt this season.
Oh, zero.
So that is like the game of the week to me.
Yeah.
To watch that one since the Packers.
It's going to be a fun time, yeah.
So not exactly a game recap, but it's two good teams.
Two
finally
very
good teams face each
up.
other.
Yeah.
Because we had also on the other end of that, not one, but 2 toilet bowls. And sometimes I like talking about them just because watching bad teams can be fun. Because just the implosions that happen from it.
I'll just make it quick. Don't paint us too much on these shit bulls, because these ones are bad, like real bad.
They are, and honestly, like neither team should be happy with that win. Both of them had to come from behind to do it.
Giggity.
I mean, pause. The Broncos were down 28-7. And marched back and somehow closed out that game against the Bears because the Bears are that
was
bad.
more of a collapse by the Bears, just to be fair, than it was a win by the Broncos.
Yeah.
And I know, there might be some Broncos fans listening that might, be be mad that I just said that, but I mean, the Bears were in control the entire game until they just had a meltdown of the season.
Justin Fields had his best game of the season.
Yeah.
The Broncos defense continues to be
the worst. Vance Joseph continues to have a job after every single meltdown.
Yeah, they're riding high. They got that win. They got that first one, baby. It just takes one.
Yeah.
They may never get one again.
Wins to come
with a defense like that. So now we only have two completely defeated teams, two teams without a win. We've got the Panthers and the Bears. Do either of these teams get a win this season? Ryan, go.
Yeah.
Who?
The Bears.
So you think the Panthers
and
you think
I think both will get a win because they're going to face a team that's going to have an off game or underestimate them just enough for them to get a win. Do I think they're going to get multiple wins? No. Do I think they'll get a win? Yes.
I will say on the positive side for the Panthers, I saw something, I don't know how credible it is, so I'm just maybe spreading rumors, that the Panthers want to go all in on finding a receiver, that they actually believe in Bryce Young. I don't necessarily agree, but I'm also not a coach in the NFL.
Sure.
And if they believe in him and they actually make a move, yes, 100%. They also get the Falcons twice in the season, so that can help.
Yeah.
The Bears, I'm going to make a doom bet. They do not get a win this season.
Ooh.
After watching them go up and then collapse.
I see a win on their radar. I see a win.
Against your Raiders?
Yeah. Why would at that point, why wouldn't the Raiders try to lose that game?
Are you going to investigate them then?
No. I'm just going to say you're a shitty coach.
I don't. I'm going to put a bet in the bucket, and I'm going to say they go 0-17 this season. I don't. After this game, I'm saying they're that bad.
I don't think there's any 0-17 teams this season personally, but we'll see. We'll definitely see.
That's why it's a doom bet.
And when I say I told you so, if it comes against the team that I think it's going to come against, I'm going to probably be screaming to the top of my lungs in the garage.
A toe-to-so, a toe-to-so.
I fucking told you so. But then it'll be a celebration.
Yeah.
Line up for that pick, baby.
Hey, on a quick game note, though.
Yeah.
Enough with the toilet bowl talk. See, I made that quick.
Yeah.
We're already in
Good
and
job,
out.
Man.
We're in and out.
Good job. Like it.
The Texans are silently good.
Yeah.
And they should always play in those red jerseys. I fucking love those jerseys.
CJ Stroud was named the Offensive Rookie of the Month. 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
He's playing good ball.
Yards. Yeah. He has played the most complimentary football out of this draft.
Yeah.
And it's not even close.
And that was not the storyline when the draft happened. So, in all transparency, I'm not a big college football fan. And I say that because I don't watch college football at all. And I watch the draft every year, so I kind of learn about these players. And, everybody was so high on Bryce Young, but watching these two, CJ Stroud's really come along. I think I've mentioned him every single week because every time I see him, he is poised. Well, no, he's not because he's got to scramble around. They got no offensive line. He's running his ass all over the place. But he's running, which Aiden O'Connell is not doing, and he is getting the ball
Carr.
out. Yeah.
Remember when Carr was on the Texans, David Carr?
Oh,
and he had to run for his life every single game. He got lit the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are silently good. And the question is, can they make a run for the division?
Oh, absolutely. That entire division is 2-2.
Yeah.
And who's convincing you otherwise?
You have the Colts who are surprisingly good.
But they're up and down. They get their running back.
That dude's never playing for the Colts.
He's reportedly showing up for training camp. Not training camp, I'm sorry. He's showing up for practice. My bad. He is, I just read an article. He is showing up for practice, and he's getting back to the plane.
Interesting, because I'm entirely convinced he does not suit up for the Colts ever.
It was on an article ESPN this morning that Jonathan Taylor is partaking in practice and intends to come back.
I wonder if maybe he just sees that they're actually winning. And he's like, you know what? Maybe I'll come back.
He just saw what the running back was too. I mean, it's nothing. The running back market is nothing spectacular right now.
No, but when that whole rumor started, there was 5 or 6 teams, including the Packers, my Packers, who at least inquired on some level.
Yeah, no, they did for sure.
So there is a market for them.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what they want. They probably want way too much.
They want way too much.
But yeah, so you have the Colts. You have the Jaguars, and I said it. I know they beat the Falcons, but the Falcons suck. The Jaguars stink. Jaguars stink, not making the playoffs. Said it here. I'm going to stick to it this time. I don't care what anybody says.
Double down, buddy.
That's right. You know who else sucks? The Steelers. The Steelers suck. I know we're not talking about them, but they suck. Titans. The Titans are that meme.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be good. Sometimes it might be shit. Dude, Derrick Henry this last game looked like vintage Derrick Henry. He threw a touchdown, but he was stiff-arming people. I mean, he had a shitload of yards, but you don't know.
He might take over Ryan Tannehill's job if he keeps that up.
He's probably better at throwing the ball.
Probably.
But I don't see the Titans being consistent enough. So this is a perfect opportunity for the Texans to be just quietly good, stun somebody, make the playoffs. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying they make a deep run.
But they could. They could.
And all the credit to the coaching staff because this team was supposed to be bad. So that was a quick side note that I thought was at least interesting as we talk about underlying stories. But Ryan.
I've got, we'll save that for last.
Okay.
Justin Herbert has a fractured finger to add to that list of injuries that just seem to absolutely plague the Chargers. They do have a bye week, so that comes in at perfect timing. But will it be enough for their list of injuries to get right? Because they have to come back and play against the Cowboys and the Chiefs. That's who they're coming off of bye week against.
You know what?
And so are they going to go to 2-4 after that? Because I would say so. I'd say they moved to 2-4, and then they have a couple easy games followed by another string of hard games. And even the easy games, they're doing the Brandon Staley signature, which is he is coaching to lose. Like he's gotten bailed out twice over the past 2 weeks. He's gotten bailed out twice.
Did you see the play
by the defense
where they got the pick and he was yelling at the D-back to go down for some reason?
I saw that, but I think he was just telling the person to go run it home. I don't know.
It looks like he told him to go down.
Because I saw that clip, but for the most part, on 3rd and 10, instead of running, he throws it when they already controlled the game. So it's that consistent boneheaded calling that Brandon Staley does. Listen, he is either the first or second worst coach in the NFL, next to Josh McDaniels.
I still think he'll be the first to lose his job.
Yeah, he would have had his job lost already, if not this week, the week prior, but the defense bailed him out both times after bad play calling.
But either way, I mean, I don't think anybody expects the Chargers to do anything this season.
I said it here first. They fucking are horrible behind Brandon Staley. They have a good assembled team, but under Brandon Staley, they will continue to suck because of him. Because when they win, it's despite him. That's how I see it. It's despite him they win, and despite of him. And are you sure we didn't start Raiders talk? No.
I'm just kidding.
No, not yet. But I will say in their conference, there's too much competition for the Chargers to even get a wild card spot.
I'll tell you what I love though. Justin Herbert got that dog in him.
He's a tough son of a bitch.
No shit, he is. You saw last year. What was it? Ribs or something? And he just gutted out. Like he could not move, but he was still out there playing and chucking the ball.
He's a special talent.
I mean, he's got that wrist wrapped up, the finger bend. He's given the natural finger, and he's just still out there throwing. He'll play through anything. So I love that. I mean, I don't think the Chargers are going to be much this season. I was joking about the. Do you want to talk about Broncos?
I was going to say the Broncos escape an 0-4. Congratulations, but is Vance Joseph going to get fired mid-season?
Fuck, I don't know. I mean, it seems like the Broncos are just going to dig their heels in and say, this is what we are.
Yeah.
So he might make it through the whole season. I had a different point about the Broncos at the end. But they need to just fire sale everything.
Fire sale everything.
I mean, the trade deadline's coming up. There's two teams that stick out to my mind of teams who just should dump what they can so they can offload and rebuild. And part of that's even the coaching staff. Not saying anybody's going to take them, but the Broncos and the Vikings, just get what you can out of your good players. And I would even say maybe Devontae with the Raiders.
Yeah.
To do something like that.
That could happen, yeah.
But Yeah, he should have been fired last week. They get the win this week. I don't know if you don't fire him after you get 70 dropped on you and you still have a 32nd ranked defense. Why would you suddenly fire him now? They might just ride it through the season. I don't know. The Broncos are a confusing team.
Okay. You ready?
I was joking about Raiders talk because whenever you get on the Raiders roller coaster, the Chargers always come up.
Nope.
Whenever we're talking on the phone, they always come up.
Look, the better team won. The better team won. It was
Yes.
It was apparent the better team won. Do they play tough against the Chargers? Usually. That's usually how it goes.
But so let's
dive into it.
Get it out, Ryan.
Okay. You want to – well, first off, I'm going to start off by saying the Raiders have the 5th most expensive offense as of 2023.
I'm surprised to hear that, really.
The 5th most expensive offense, and they look like absolute dog shit with piss stains on top of that. In front of them, the Detroit Lions, Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, and Bengals are all ahead in terms of more expensive offenses, but you see the success that they have minus, an injured Joe Burrow. Here's another note I got. Mark Davis is caught on camera yelling to a fan saying,
awesome.
Smarten up. Like, after they tell him, fire Josh McDaniels, because I think we're all in agreement, Josh McDaniels needs to go.
He stinks. He's not a good head coach.
He's not. He's
a bum.
He's in his last, 17 games or 20-something games, he's got a losing record. And not just by a little, by a lot.
And he's got a fat face.
He's blown 7 huge leads, and in the last 9 games, he can't put together more than 17 points. In the last 9 games dated back to last year, he's not scoring more than 17 points, and he got his guy. So what's your excuse now, right?
Well, and he pulled a scumbag move, too.
He pulled a real scumbag move. Let's talk about that. So after the game, they just started Aiden O'Connell, which had his first start in the NFL. It was a little rough to start out. He was turning the ball over. He hadn't never had really a whole lot of snaps before this or practice. He's behind Brian Hoyer, so he's actually the 3rd string quarterback for the Raiders. So it's not like he's getting massive amounts of reps. What's interesting, though, is usually if you want to compare Zach Wilson and the coach, he will say, we're sticking to our
Robert
guy.
Saleh has been awesome.
We love him. Great job. We need to be better. I need to be better.
Yeah.
But instead he says, we need to take care of the ball. The quarterback has to take care of the ball. It's like, really?
Just
do explain, Josh McDaniels, how the quarterback has to take better care of the ball, and do explain that more in detail when you're the one to call up a passing play on 1st and 3rd. You're 3 yards away, and Josh Jacobs had his best game of the season so far.
He actually looked like a competent runner for the first time this season.
He looked good. He led the team with receptions.
Yeah.
He was putting some pain on the ground too, like he was running, and you don't give him the ball. He has 4 opportunities to run 3 yards.
But either way, you just can't throw your rookie. Is he a rookie? Is his first year?
Yeah, this is his first start ever. You can't throw him underneath the bus.
His first game, get into the media and roll him under a bus. That's a scumbag.
Well,
move.
yeah, and even with a good quarterback, you're packing the box. Unless you've got a Patrick Mahomes or a Justin Herbert or a competent quarterback, you're packing the box in a tight little box, trying to write up or drop a passing play instead of just run it in. You know that they're going to get it. And then at that point, it's 24-24. Let's see what happens. It's anyone's ball game, but you had 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. And you would think that you're trying to drain the clock some because you don't want to give Justin Herbert too much time.
He got that dog in him.
And you throw it. Yeah. So it's absolute dog shit. Josh McDaniels has 4 years of a. So I looked up his deal. It was a 4-year deal. So he's a year and a half in, worth up to $10 million a season. Get rid of him. Because if I noticed, Mark Davis does listen to the outcry. So he didn't want to get rid of Gruden, but he heard the social outcry, and he had to make that decision. if he hears the outcry enough, I'll say right now, Raider Nation, if you even give a shit about your team, make sure that Mark Davis hears it every day, every second. Tweet it, retweet it.
Scream in his face at the game.
Scream at his face in the game. He's getting riled up. We just saw this. Write him letters. At this game, at this point in time, I would say, come party with us on Sundays. If you want to have a good time, but don't go to the fucking game.
Ooh,
don't go to the fucking game.
They just stop going completely.
Don't go to the game because until you put your heels in the ground and say fuck you, he's going to stick by his guy, which is Josh McDaniels. You got to let him know that is not okay. That you're not sticking by Josh McDaniels at all. So we got to be better. We deserve better. But in terms of our owner up at the top, it starts with him, and it
starts with his haircut. Really,
it really starts with his haircut.
If you want to point your finger somewhere, starts with the terrible haircut.
It starts with his barber.
Yeah, actually,
It starts with his.
There's
barber.
your enemy.
There's your
Mark Davis's barber is the problem of the Raiders.
It is the problem of the Raiders.
So Ryan, I had a solution to all your Raiders coaching problems.
Yeah, you told me about this.
And I just wanted to bring it up because I think this could really fix everything. Here's what you do. You have AI just run algorithms all game long, and it calls the plays, and you filter it through a hologram of John Madden. And just put it on the sideline and let John Madden, in his old days, coach the game for you.
Would John Madden be a good coach in this time and era?
Oh, it's the algorithm that's doing it. He's just the face of it.
Yeah. I mean, he's a legend.
And we are talking about Vegas.
Yeah.
So anyways, do you feel better?
No. I mean, at this point, they suck.
So do the Packers. And we play each other this week.
They suck. I would say fire sale, but also start AOC for the rest of the season. You already know what you got in Jimmy Garoppolo. So might as well let Aiden O'Connell get some additional reps, see what you got in him. Just make sure that, he's either competent or he's nowhere near. See what he is, because another team's going to want him. Like, oh, he's pretty good.
Maybe.
I might need a secondary quarterback, or he's pretty freaking good.
We will find out on Monday night when the Packers and the Raiders face off for basically a toilet bowl.
Basically the third round pick.
Yeah. So the only last thing we had is the trade deadline is coming up. It's at Halloween, so we're within weeks of that, which means we are going to have some movement and rumors come through. Currently, there's not any as I was looking.
Yeah.
We'll start to hear it more as trade rumors come up, so we'll make sure to add those. We'll probably add a trade segment to this where we can hit the segment button. Got it in. Didn't think we were going to do it, but we did it. But that is the show we had today.
One last thing. Sit Joe Burrow.
Yes.
Sit Joe Burrow.
Yes. Agreed.
They're done. They're cooked. 1-3. The Bengals are done. You're not coming back from that.
I don't know why they don't. The Bengals stink too.
Yeah.
So that is our show. The Overreactions, Underlying Stories.
Yes, sir.
We will be back later this week with our rankings, our game picks, and our buying or selling rankings, the quick show that we do later in the week. We will get this video uploaded as we slowly get them to YouTube. I'm doing all the editing, and I'm figuring it out as I go. As you can see, we have a new background in our new studio. So
I might tell you not to upload it just because I died on camera.
You did die. I think that can be entertaining to watch. I actually forgot that you almost died through that.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
But anyways, subscribe, check us out on YouTube.
Please do, yeah.
Make sure to follow on YouTube because we are uploading these slowly as we process them through. So if you subscribe, follow, you'll be able to get those alerts. Make sure to rate, review on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify. You got to do 5 stars to leave a review. I mean, that's just the rules. I don't set them. I got to abide by them. I got to tell you about them. That's how we do it.
Listen, we put out new episodes twice a week, and we can't do it without your support. So we really do appreciate when you subscribe. Please tell your friends and family if they like sports, if they want real reactions, if they want, just 2 dudes talking sports that could be a little bit more relatable than ESPN. Tell them to subscribe.
Way more relatable.
Tell them to subscribe. tell them to leave a review, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
Thank you.